Hello IP2, welcome to this week's health class. Teacher Dennis here. I will be doing your health classes for the next few weeks. Okay, so to start off, let's do some revision of what you did in your last class. And the main question that was asked is, what are harmful substances? So some substances, when taken into our body, can cause harm to our body and mind. So if you take too much of these harmful substances, it can even lead to death. So harmful substances are dangerous substances or things that we put into our body. Harmful means dangerous. So examples of harmful substances are drugs, smoking, and alcoholic drinks. Okay, so these are three different kinds of harmful or bad or dangerous substances: drugs, smoking, and alcohol. Okay, so I'm going to start reading on page 60. So if you are on page 60, you can follow. Okay, I'm going to read slowly so that you can understand. What are drugs? Drugs are chemicals that can change the way your body works and behaves. Okay, so drugs are chemicals. We put them into our body and they change the way that our body works and what it does. So behaves or behavior means what you do. So if you have good behavior, it means that you do something good or right. If you have bad behavior, it means that you do something bad or wrong. So it's the same with drugs. Drugs, when they go into our body, they can change us for good or for bad. So, next line. When we are sick, doctors prescribe drugs to help us get better. Okay, so when we are sick and we go to the hospital to see the doctor, they will give us some medicine to make us better. So they want to change our bodies so that they go from bad to good. And so these are called prescription drugs. These are from the doctor. And they are there to help us, not to make us worse. So these are good drugs. These are good drugs that when you take them correctly, like the doctor tells you, are safe. However, some people use the drugs for wrong purposes. This is known as drug abuse. When we go to the doctor and he gives us drugs and we take them correctly, we are not abusing the drugs. Abusing means using them in the wrong way. But if the doctor tells us to take 3 tablets per day and you take 5 tablets per day, it means you are not taking them correctly. You are taking them in the wrong way. And that is called drug abuse. If you are taking medication that is supposed to be for somebody else, it was not supposed to be for you, that is also drug abuse. And if you are taking illegal drugs, these are drugs that doctors cannot give you, that is called drug abuse. Okay, the drug abuser, so a drug abuser is somebody who takes the drugs incorrectly, the wrong way. And the drug abuser suffers hallucination, mood swings, anxiety, and depression. So hallucinations are when you see things that are not really there. So when you look in front of you, you think that you might see some people, but really they are not there. The drugs are playing with your mind and they're making your mind go crazy. They're making your eyes see things that are not really there. And mood swings are when you are happy and you go to sad very quickly. Or you go to angry. You could be happy and then angry very quickly. So these are called mood swings. And anxiety is when you are stressed and afraid of everything. And also depression. And depression is when you are very sad. When you are sad and upset about everything around you, about yourself, about your family, about your friends, about everything. When you are sad about everything. Drugs are addictive too. So addictive means that when you start taking it, you can't stop. So other things are addictive, like smoking is addictive, drinking alcohol is addictive, eating sweets can be addictive, playing video games can be addictive. When you start, you don't want to stop, or you can't stop. And it's the same for drugs. When you start, it is very hard to stop. Drug abusers find it very hard to give up drugs. It can be very painful. And it's painful because when you have been taking a drug for so long that when you stop, your body has got used to it and it wants it again. It wants it more and more and more. And when you stop giving your body the drugs, it hurts your body. Your body becomes empty because it doesn't have the drugs. And that's why you need to fill it back up to keep your body happy. But you are just damaging your body. So it can be very painful if a drug abuser stops taking the drugs. Taking too much drugs can also result in brain damage or heart attacks. Okay, so if you take too much drugs because the drugs are playing with your mind, it can lead to brain damage. So you will forget how to think correctly. You can forget how to speak. You forget how to act properly. So it can have very, very bad things that can happen to you. And it can lead to bad things like when you can have a heart attack. So your heart will stop beating. And that's not good. So drugs are extremely dangerous. Okay, let's look up here at the corner. Good drugs and bad drugs. So what are the differences? Remember, good drugs are the drugs that your doctor gives you when you are sick. And they are only good if you take them the way he tells you to take them. Or she tells you to take them. And bad drugs are when you take drugs that are not meant for you. So if a doctor did not tell you to take them, you should not take them. If they are illegal, that means you can't buy them in the pharmacy. You should not take them because that means they are illegal. They are not good. They are bad drugs. Okay, so what are drugs? Drugs are chemicals that can change the way your body works and behaves. What is drug abuse? Drug abuse is when some people use the drugs for wrong purposes. So not for the reason that you're supposed to take them. They take them for other reasons. What is drug addiction? So drug addiction is when abusers find it very hard to give up drugs. Okay, so addiction is when you cannot give it up. Okay, so drug addiction is when drug abusers find it hard to give up drugs. Okay, next page, page 61. Okay, I'm going to read from the top. Why do people still take drugs despite of all the negative effects? Okay, so negative means bad. So why do people still take drugs even though we know they are bad for us? Some take drugs due to peer pressure, some out of curiosity. So peer pressure is when your friends tell you to do something. So if your friends start telling you to take drugs, you should say no. But if they keep telling you take drugs, take drugs, take drugs, eventually you might say, okay, I'm going to take it. But you should not take it. That means your friend has made you do that. And that is called peer pressure. Others believe that drugs can make them smart. popular, or better in sports. Okay, so some people, when they are not good at something, they will take drugs to make them better. And they think that it makes them better, but it can only make you, but it never really makes you better. It might work one time, but it cannot work every time. And then you get addicted to taking them because you try to keep making them work, even though the drugs don't work anymore. Okay? Some think that drugs can help them escape from their problems, but this is not true. So some people will try to escape, means run away from their problems. But you can't run away from your problems using drugs. Drugs will just make them worse. So you should not, if you have problems, you should not use drugs. You should go and talk to people that can help you, not through drugs. Drugs cost a lot of money, so some rob, steal, and kill just to get money to buy drugs. So this is the really bad part of drugs. They are expensive, and you need a lot of money to keep taking them. So if you don't have money to keep taking them, you're going to resort to crime. You're going to start doing bad things like stealing from your family, from your friends, from strangers. Because you need to get the money so that you can keep buying the drugs. And in some cases, some people who need the drugs so bad, so much, they will actually kill just to get a little bit of money so that they can get some drugs. And at the very bottom, families of drug abusers are often neglected or abused. So sometimes because people come from a bad family, they will turn to taking drugs to make themselves feel better. But this does not work either. It will make you feel better just one time or two times, but then you will not feel better anymore. And you will keep taking the drugs to try and feel better. But it doesn't work, as we've already talked about. It can only work a few times, not every single time. And then, when it doesn't work anymore, what happens? You turn to crime because you don't have money. You will turn to other drugs. You will start taking other drugs. So if you are come from a bad family, or you're not happy with your family, you should not take drugs. You should talk to people like other family members, friends, teachers. There are lots of people that you can talk to. Okay? So why do people take drugs? Peer pressure and curiosity. So from their friends. Sometimes people have bad friends and they tell them to do bad things, like trying to take drugs. Escape from problems. So if you have a problem in school or in work or with your family or with your friends, maybe you will take drugs to try and make you feel better. But that does not work. And finally, family problems. So if you have family problems, you should talk to people, not take drugs, because it doesn't work. Okay, so that's today's class. And the last thing that you have is a worksheet with 3 questions that you need to answer. And all the answers are on pages 60 and 61. So I'm going to go through the worksheet with you now. The first question. What happens to a drug abuser? Okay, what happens to a drug abuser? So we need to look back on our book and we go to page 60. And on page 60, we can see 3/4 of the way, just here. The drug abuser suffers hallucination, mood swings, anxiety, and depression. Okay, that is what happens to a drug abuser. So they see things that are not really there. They get angry very quickly. They are stressed. They don't like being around other people, and they get very sad in themselves. Okay, so that is the answer to question 1. Okay, question 2. Is it easy for drug abusers to give up drugs? Okay, let's go back to page 60 again. And we can see down here, drug abusers find it very hard to give up drugs. Okay, so that means it is not easy for drug abusers to give up drugs. So that is the answer for question 2. And question 3, write 3 reasons that people take drugs. Okay, so 3 reasons why people take drugs. So we go to page 61. We can see here that reasons that people take drugs are peer pressure. That is one reason, because of their friends. But some people believe that the drugs can make them smart, make them popular, or better at sports. So there's 4 reasons. Okay, some people also take drugs to escape from their problems, and others do it because they have come from bad families. Okay, so these are 5 or 6 different reasons that people take drugs. So you just need to write 3 reasons. Okay, 3 reasons why people take drugs. Okay, thank you, IP2. That is the end of this week's class. I will see you again next week. Thank you.